Well, the NFL draft is in the books, and the Eagles have made their selections after a painful day 3 that I will get into. The Eagles end up with Jihaad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama. They also end up with Andrew Mukuba from Texas, the safety. Those were the day 1 and 2 picks. I kind of already did a breakdown on those guys, so if you want that, you can just hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner, and you can see my take on those guys. But in day 3 of the NFL draft, which is days 4 through 7, the Eagles ended up trading back a few times, acquiring some more assets, some more picks. So here's who they ended up getting. They ended up getting in round 5 after trading back cornerback Mac McWilliams. Hit thumbs down for that snafu from UCF. They then in round 5 grabbed linebacker Shmael Mondin Jr., definitely butchered that name, from Georgia. In round 5, they also grabbed Drew Kendall from Boston College. He's a center. No word if he'll end up sticking at center or they'll move him to guard. Local kid, round 6, they grabbed Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord. And round 6, they also grabbed offensive tackle Miles Hinton from Michigan. Another offensive lineman goes off the board in round 6 at pick 207. Offensive tackle Cameron Williams from Texas. And then final pick of the day was pick 209 in round 6. Edge rusher Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech. So in a nutshell, you've got a linebacker, a safety, a defensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker, center, quarterback, 2 offensive tackles, and an edge rusher. Okay. So the day 3 situation was interesting only because of one aspect. It became obvious to a lot of insiders out there that the Eagles were going to end up taking Shedeur Sanders, who had dropped to round 5 of the draft, and then the Cleveland Browns ended up kind of pulling a Howie Roseman. They jumped in front of the Eagles to end up taking Shedeur, which was interesting because they already took Dylan Gabriel in round 3, but they end up bringing in Shedeur Sanders. Eagles end up getting Kyle McCord later on in the draft as kind of a project, quarterback number 3 situation, just in case their quarterback room ends up suffering injuries or whatever. But overall, it was interesting how they kind of loaded up on the offensive line late in the draft. I'm a big fan of that philosophy. I think if you give Jeff Stoutland that many shots, he's going to end up getting one of these guys to be a serviceable NFL player. Whether it be the 2 offensive tackles, whether it be the center, I firmly believe one of those guys will end up sticking with the Birds because at this point, Jeff Stoutland is in the room. He's getting asked his opinion on whether or not to take a guy, what he thinks of them. We all know the story about him kind of pounding the table for Jordan Mailata in round 7. I have no idea if these guys are going to be Jordan Mailata or they just end up being, King Dunlap. Well, King Dunlap actually had a decent career, so for all intents and purposes, for a round 7 pick. But the Eagles end up with all those picks. The interesting thing, though, I also think with this draft, which became evident to me, was while the Eagles kind of loaded up on day 3 with quantity, maybe quality, we don't know yet, but quantity at least, and that's kind of been a calling card of Howie Roseman throughout his tenure, the Eagles have positioned themselves with some of these trades to have potentially 12 picks in next year's draft. Now, I'm going to probably screw this up a little bit, and I'll put a graphic up, but I believe they're going to have, obviously their first or second round pick. I think they're going to have 3 thirds, and one of those is going to be a compensatory pick, so we'll see. A fourth, it's like 4 fifths, 2 sixths. They've positioned themselves to have a lot of shots at this. This wasn't necessarily thought of as a really strong draft, so I like the idea of the Eagles kind of punting, if you will, for next year. I mean, they obviously picked up some talent and they took some shots, but I like the idea of kind of recouping picks for the following year, which is, from what we hear, supposed to be a better draft. So there you have it. There's kind of my uneducated Eagles breakdown because, as I said in my video about Jihaad Campbell and Mukuba, I wasn't watching Alabama tape. I wasn't watching Texas tape. I can't tell you if these guys are going to be good or bad. And honestly, even the experts have no idea how these guys are going to be. Every year, these post-draft grades come out, and it's kind of laughable. Hopefully, though, these guys all end up being incredible players, and this is the greatest draft class of all time. it always takes a little bit for you to figure out if a draft class hits or not. I think it's safe to say that last year's draft class is the outlier because you end up getting impact from Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. But I think 2021 was the year that we figured out that the 2018 draft class was really good. I mean, you went into that year with question marks galore regarding a lot of the players, and they pretty much all hit. I think 4 out of the 5 ended up getting contract extensions. Avonte Maddox, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, and Josh Sweat, I think all ended up getting, that year, ended up getting contract extensions. The other interesting thing, speaking of Goddard, is the fact that he's still on the team. Now, it was interesting afterwards because Howie Roseman said, as of now, the way he worded it, was like, Dallas Goedert is currently on the team or something like that. You wonder if they're still looking to shop him? I find it hard to believe. Yeah, he's not the first or second option, and he's not even the third option. But he's still an important member of your offense. I would be really surprised if post-draft they decide to move on from him. But we've seen more surprising things from Howie. I never expected after the Super Bowl that they would move on from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but they ended up doing it. To close out this draft, I'm going to say a potentially scorching hot take amongst football guys. But hey, it's just us girls talking. The NFL draft is an unwatchable product. Maybe it's the fact that I've gotten older, I have less patience, but I'm sitting there watching day 3 of the draft, and it is a painful, drawn-out process that the NFL has taken and made an unwatchable product. And you cannot convince me otherwise. And the NFL has done this with a few different events, one of them being the schedule release. The schedule release should be nothing more than the schedule being released. And yet, they kept hyping it up. May 14th, and it's going to be an 8-hour schedule release. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's drawn out. It's unnecessary. I don't need the 4th round of the draft, the 4th fucking round of the draft, taking 2 hours. And it took 2 hours. That is bonkers to me. Why did it take 2 hours? Well, I got to hear from some dude in Australia. He's got to pop on in. Shrimp on the Barbie. I got to hear from Paris. Oh, Germany's checking in. Enough. Just make the picks. Because what ends up happening is those feeds from Germany, from Brussels, from Italy, all that, takes a while to actually get, set it up and all that. So you end up having, and I'm watching NFL Network, Charles Davis, Rich Eisen, Daniel Jeremiah, trying desperately to kill time. Luckily this year they had the Shadur Sanders topic. But then you end up getting crowd shots that I don't need. Some woman carving the NFL draft logo out of cheese. What are we doing? Now, on the flip side, you say, hey, dipshit, you could easily just change the channel. You're right. The problem became in the 4th round when I went, I just want to see what the Eagles take here. That's it. I want to see the Eagles take, and I'll probably check out. I'll check back in every once in a while. And they traded out. They traded down 15 spots. And when they traded down 15 spots, I said, I'm going to be here a minimum of 45 minutes. Now, this is on me. I got to look in the mirror because I easily could have left, came back in 45 minutes, and sure enough, they still hadn't picked. But if you're a football guy out there and you're like, oh my God, I'm dialed in for 7 rounds, more power to you, okay? That is unwatchable. The 4th round should take no less than an hour. Basically, day 3 should be done in about 3.5 hours. They should be able to get through rounds 4 through 7 in about 3.5 hours, and they don't. Because we have to draw out the process. We have to have these stories and fans and enough. Just make the picks. Thank God I don't have to watch a schedule release show. I mean, the people that watch that are psycho. So you're trying too hard if you're dialed in for the schedule release. I'm sorry. All right, I'm just saying the quiet part out loud here on sports YouTube. You're trying too hard. Especially with every team basically putting out their schedule release beforehand in a better form, in a better uniform. Like the Titans have done a great job of just stopping bachelorette parties and getting these drunk girls to be like, yeah, that logo looks like this team. It's hilarious. Most of the time the schedule ends up dropping early anyway. Like it ends up leaking out. And yet you've got Colleen Wolfe and whoever up there hyping it up as if it is opening day, as if it is game 1. It sucks. It sucks so bad. I hate watched the draft today. Hate watched it. thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I do appreciate it. I do like football, believe it or not. I just don't like a drawn-out process where, all right, we're going to give you 2 picks, and then we're going to go to commercial. And we're going to give you a pick, and then we're going to go to commercial. And here's 2 more picks. Commercial. A pick. Commercial. Overkill. Overkill. But hey, go Birds.